everyone. So we have gathered here with my friends from TGD Research Team, Ville-Veli Einari-Saari from Lapland, Matti Pitkänen from Karkkila, and Tuomas Sorakivi from Helsinki. And myself, I'm also from Eastern Helsinki. So we have had a TGD group research team in Finland for many years, 5, even 6 years, and our background is quite varied of skills and competence, but I can list few of them: quantum technology, economics, robotics, and history of science. We have done peer-reviewed researches and publications, few of those, and so forth. Those areas have some intersecting areas with battery science, but exactly electrochemistry is not our core expertise, unless we talk about atomic level physics, condensed matter, and so forth. But chemistry is a different beast, I think. So in this regard, we can rely solely on third-party knowledge. So we are best described as independent researchers. And as with any project, we start simply by documenting everything we can. So first step is to document, and the second step is document, and the third step is document. Then we try to do objective, structured analysis on the data, and in this case, Donut Lab and their partners have published. And what the community has been digging and speculating about. We collect sources, cross-reference claims, and build hypotheses as an exercise, I'd like to say. Entertain ourselves with different kind of views that sometimes can be contradictory and bluntly wrong. But as a side note, beyond the solid-state battery industry analysis that we have made, we exercise an ideation around quantum level Pollack effect energy storage system. Especially Dr. Matti Pitkänen, who has worked with the foundational physics and related questions over 40 years, has a certain interest in this topic. I also want to say that Pollack battery is much more like a metaphysical level idea at this moment compared to the Donut Labs concrete battery, which is industry level real product. But maybe Matti, you want to say some words about this?
Yes. What is essential for the Pollack effect? First of all, Pollack effect, you have in standard form, you have some energy source, photons, for instance. Photons, visible infrared range for energies. And then you have water. And water is bounded by gel phase or organic molecules. And there is energy feed by photons, and the proposal, it creates negatively charged regions. And the TGD explanation is that these negatively charged regions are formed because protons of water go somewhere. And the proposal is that they go to what I call field body, magnetic body. This is a TGD counterpart, topological geometry dynamics counterpart for Maxwellian electric fields, electromagnetic fields. And this is something totally new, requires a new space-time concept. I can't explain it now here. And these protons or in this case protons. They could be also alkali ions, lithium for instance. And they, at this field body, they have large value of Planck constant, much larger than ordinary. This is the second new element, hierarchy of Planck constants, new quantum physics. And this means that their quantum lengths are scaled up in proportion to this effective Planck constant, and macroscopic quantum phases are formed. For instance, in the scale of this battery. And they are charge carriers. And because this Planck constant is large, dissipation is small. Ohmic resistance is very, very small. And this makes possible a rapid transfer between, say, first electrode cathode negative charge and this second electrode. This charge, there is no waste of, very little waste of energy. Dissipation is small, and this is very nice. And this makes this very fast, this charge transfer. This was one of the reported properties of this donut, and I think it might be here the explanation. And then you have these negatively charged exclusion zones. And in the case of Pollack battery, it would be this cathode. In this special case, when you have lithium iron phosphate in cathode, you would have very similar system to DNA and RNA, negatively charged when this charging has happened. And this brings strong analogy with biology. In biology, there would be these exclusion zones, there would be quantum coherence in long scale, and the entire DNA would carry very large charge, negative charge. And these protons and also other alkali ions would be at this field body. So this would be the analogy with biology, and I think this might be very interesting analogy.
Okay, so this is one of our motivation to investigate Donut Lab battery, to kind of get a practical grasp of the energy storage system and kind of philosophy and technology behind them, so that we can apply it also to quite a different kind of systems like the Pollack battery.
Yes, this quantum coherence in the scale of battery, at least, this would be the new thing. And then there's new space-time concept, this magnetic body, field body, new view about Maxwellian electrodynamics. And perhaps these are the basic new elements. And this requires a lot of theoretical work, of course, to develop a detailed picture. But then if you take this quantum coherence seriously, then you get a mechanism for this transfer. You can kick these to the magnetic body, magnetic flux tubes, and the ions, lithium ions, would flow without dissipation. But then this problem is that they can drop back, transform to ordinary lithium ions anywhere between the electrodes. This is a problem. But now we could have very nice solution to the problem. We do give energy which is somewhat smaller than the energy needed to get to the magnetic body, and you have a tunneling effect. You have kind of tunneling, you have potential wall, you get through it in quantum mechanics. This is this tunneling effect. And you get just to the second electrode. You can't drop in between. This would be controlled transfer from electrode to electrode or from electrode to to electrode. And this is something totally new as compared to the normal view, chemical view about battery.
So we are discussing very foundational questions.
Yes. This new physics, in essence, new quantum physics, also in an essential way.
Yeah. But we can continue to the agenda that I laid out today. So one kind of perspective is that I'm interested by the phenomenon of dissident and citizen science. And mainly the hype cycles and dynamics of the community, where all the discussion is going on the internet and YouTube and so forth. Human behavior that surrounds the controversial claims. So that's actually the part that struck and drew me to the story of the Donald Lab when I first heard about the Donald Lab in Finnish media earlier this year. So basically, we are just applying citizen science methodology, which is a human right for everyone to practice. And you can read one of my peer-reviewed manifesto about citizen science from ResearchGate article, if you wish. It's in Finnish and English language, published in Holistic Science Publications. I think this should be enough for a background at this point, and as a disclaimer that we are not trying to be another YouTube battery doctors, but simply documenters and participants in a viral discussion that is going on. And next, because I published 4 different YouTube videos the last week and this week, I'd like to come back to some of the errata and corrections of the past episodes. Then speak a little about the updated analysis that we have, and speak a little bit about hypothesized chemistry of the battery from the informations we have from the public sources, and then speak about the cold test that is probably coming to the Donald Lab maybe next week. We assume, and then at the end, I want to say some words about AI generated content and quality things, and then we close the thoughts. About the mistakes, research includes a lot of mistakes and side steps, and so we had also a few of those I want to spell out in this section. In episode 4, it was stated that a Donald Lab battery cell number DL1 was the cold test cell, the one of VTT presumably used for low temperature discharge testing. But this was apparently wrong. It's not a big deal, but keen eyes noticed it quickly. The original description explicitly states the same cell was used for low temperature and high temperature discharge tests. This is from the video that Donald Lab published last Monday. You could see the report and the pages, and there was a text that is not anymore in the PDF application, but there was a talk about low temperature test also. But that cell, if it was done with the same cell, it refers to the DL2, not DL1. So we can conclude that the DL1 is left for something else in future Donald Lab publications. Which function we can only try to guess. From LinkedIn, one can read Ville Piippo, who is CTO of Donald Lab, his comment that there were multiple tests running at the same time, and that we need to wait for the rest of the results for some time. So did they start cycling battery DL1 right in the beginning when they started this publication cycle, and then maybe bring those results on table after 2 weeks? We will see, of course, what happens in future. Interesting fact is also that in the report we found from 2024 CT coating tested proto batteries already, and there was an unusual behavior after 100 cycle test. The battery that was tested actually improved. So it didn't degrade, which you would presume. So this kind of self-recovery is possible to some polymer chemistry. It would be quite extraordinary, of course. But for all 100,000 cycles, some research papers tell that batteries can behave unexpectedly after 1,000 of cycles. So extrapolation from 1,000 to 100,000 might be risky. But the low temperature discharge data most probably exist now. It seems that results were deliberately withheld from the published report, as the community has found. Cold test, it was first in the paper, in the sentence, and based on that, done before the hot test. So why they did not publish the cold test results first? Of course, time will tell how it goes. Then there was a misattribution in episode 4. We discussed 11C NMC counter tests where a person charged a Sunwoda cell at 11C and recorded only 29 degrees Celsius. In the podcast, our podcast, it was attributed to Kyle van Perendok, but the test was actually performed by John Sullivan. Kyle's contribution was a separate DCIR analysis from the VTT data. So we practically mixed up person attribution in that case, but the analysis itself was as intended. So I want to just say apologies for both Kyle and John if they happen to see these videos. Then Marko Lehtimäki, who's CEO of Donut Lab, has commented on LinkedIn that perhaps the bet that this NMC test is referring, that it was written in Finnish, and maybe the translation did not work very well to English. The challenge was try to find an NMC battery that behaves similarly in same conditions as their battery did in the VTT tests, referring to the 80 and 100 degrees hot discharge test. NMC battery can obviously charge and discharge at 11C easily and barely gets heated. But that's what not Lehtimäki meant or was challenging. So I think all of this hints that everyone who is arguing that the Donut Lab batteries are normal NMC batteries, could the battery work on those temperatures similar way, still functioning after hours of temperature stress? I think it strongly suggests that we should really read it as a Donut Lab knows that the battery chemistry is something else, even if the voltage curves look similar. I think this probably just reveals a gap in knowledge by many skeptics. I'm also afraid that a lot of people either miss or this situation don't want to accept it until they are given a sample of a battery chemicals for spectroscopy. But funny thing is that Donut Lab cannot give it. They either have directly with CT coating the German company or a proxy through Nordic Nano Group. that has signed an NDA. But there's also more juicy detail here, I think. If Donut Lab has not signed NDA and Nordic Nano Group is a proxy, then in this case, Donut Lab could in theory claim something about the battery chemistry and about the manufacturing process, and it would not hurt their business. But then on the other hand, it could raise a question: where did they get the information? If they had only a license to the tech and they did not do R&D by themselves, but then they could say it was just an educated guess. So in practice, so far, they have not indicated anything special about the chemistry, but maybe only that it is sodium or salt-based chemistry. So then one other hypothesis that relates to Imatra factory, it has caused a lot of confusion, I think, in discussions. So in episode 3, we followed Miss Go Electric's investigation and allowed the Finlandia border duty-free market near Imatra in Russia, near the Russian borders, as they were likely Donut Lab or Nordic Nano production site. But then Lehtimäki addressed this directly in the first I Do Not Believe video. He said, some found an empty building that belongs to a company that we invested in and built an entire narrative from a single photo. Aha, there's no production. So I understand that he's saying the narrative built on the building is just wrong. It would make sense because CT Coatings NDA requires extreme secrecy. So if a facility running a holomatrix printing line, it would need a physical security, fenced perimeter, guarded access for NDA-signed personnel only. A former retail border market in open space in a small town is opposite of that. It's kind of a building where someone can easily drive by, take a photo, maybe go inside and post photos and so forth online. So battery manufacturing most likely happens at a secured, disclosed facility somewhere near Helsinki. As Tom Lehtimäki, CEO of Verge Motorcycles, said in January in Vegas, they don't want any strangers walking there, he stated. But then one big thing, and actually the reason why I wanted to gather our group is that we have now uploaded the corrected and updated analysis version 2 of our document to ResearchGate. So it runs about 180 pages with hundreds of validated links and references, original sources provided, dozens of tables and diagrams for easier visualization. And I just shortly want to list all the updates we made on this round. So it of course contains the VTT report 2 that we got last Monday and the analysis of it. And I fixed Donut Lab associated company relations and then added a lot of CT Coating corporate network to the appendix 8. So these names are quite well known at the moment: Sana Energy, Holy Volt, CLM Nano, Trangilium Energy. And then there are investor letters that Finnish media has provided us, and patent landscape is described. And then we also made cell architecture and energy density estimations to appendix, mass scenarios, chemistry classification, and so forth. And then there's own chapter for industry, landscape, hype cycle, startup failures, fraud precedents, and big players validation gap. Credibility chapter is expanded. So we have a 6-thread convergent analysis, Arrhenius fingerprints, and cold start bootstrap model, LATP green claims fit, and so forth. And then we expanded thermal chapter because now we have high temperature discharge data, and we are waiting, of course, for the cold temperature context data. Then in total, we have 60 new references added to the bibliography, and even 40 new tables and 10 new figures in the analysis. So the report doubled the size quite quickly. So it's been a really extremely high information dense week. And there's a lot of discussion in Finnish media now in the news, podcast, and forums that are not accessible for foreign people. Some perhaps not really accessible, but some are, of course, in Finnish language. And when you translate it to English, you probably, in some cases, you get lost about the context and real meanings and so forth. So I hope this report is, because it's written now in English, I hope it is valuable for globally in that regard as well. But I want to say that also people here in Finland, they are, to what I think, it's surprising how skeptical they are for this whole phenomenon. Even though in a successful form, it could bring a huge publicity and even national economic benefits to the country. I don't know if Ville, you want to say something along these lines, because you are most known about economics and like global and national economic side of the businesses.
Yes, I can say something. I've been studying this a little bit on the side. I'm not an expert in the theoretical physics and applications like many others in the team is, but looking at this from the cultural aspect, I think this is a very interesting case study as of a decentralized industrial structure with vertical implementation strategy. And I remember I commented something about it on LinkedIn, and the CEO Lehtimäki, I commented that understanding something about the strategy and also intellectual property, I said that if they would have invented this kind of breakthrough battery without commenting on the ontology of if there is a battery or not, I said that this would be exactly the way how to launch it and how to create publicity and how to evoke interest and study around the technology and the science behind it. So right away the Lehtimäki was giving me thumbs up. So I think what is beautiful here is the method working. And also I'm studying methodology in a sense that I'm asking studying the relationship between wisdom, Sophia, and pronosis, which is the aggregated wisdom generated by wise actions. So there are many, many layers of very interesting case studies that can be found in this phenomena of donut labs, which I'm doing case studies myself about. But I'm very happy that something is happening in this field in Finland, and I think it's fun that all the Finns are extremely skeptical and not believing anything. And I like it because we need to know it works, not believe.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are very irritated about when they give only a small amount of information every Monday, a little bit. So they are very irritated of this strategy. Of course, I think it's not only the battery we are talking about here. It's the motorcycles, of course, and the operating system and all this big set of different sides of the project they have. So this is just a surface, this Donut Labs battery case. Yes, so I've been a little bit surprised about the skepticism here in Finland also. But just recently, Donut Lab people, they lamented on LinkedIn that there are two persons in practice that keep a certain narrative alive in Finnish media. Tanja Kallio from Aalto University and Juho Heiska, known as Akkutohtori, battery doctor, who both are well-respected specialists in their area, we have to say. Their criticism is certainly not uncrowded, but they see the same thing as red flags, where other people see them as green flags. So this is interesting. Things are very polarized, and Lehtimäki accepts the skepticism by his own words, but seemingly is in an opinion war against people and institutions that seem to extend skepticism to voluntary negativism, where at the end it also seems to turn to slander and even lies. So there's this kind of war, I think, going on in the opinion level. But if the campaign's one motive is to catch some of those institutions and people from lying or slandering, if you think it this way, it's quite a brutal game. They are brought up, and so in case everything works fine, they are shown that, aha, you were wrong. So I don't know, maybe in Finland we are a little bit afraid of losing our public face if this whole venture fails. Myself, I also come from a small business background. I know how only a small fraction of businesses actually succeeds longer than a year. So this is just the nature of entrepreneurship, even more so when speaking of inventions. As famously said about Edison, he had 1,000 failures before he succeeded with the electric light bulb, finally. I want to bring up some acknowledgements from the community and our YouTube channel, where people have been genuinely helpful with our research and encouraging throughout our investigation process past week. So BTS Astro 1, I want to thank for consistent engagement and sharp observations. And John Boat 2756, your cheers has also been noticed with gratitude, and EV Drive Zero Pollution. We appreciate your support, what you bring to the discussion. And to the broader community following this saga, whether you're skeptical, enthusiastic, or somewhere in between, I think the best analysis in our case comes from testing this idea against people who have different views. Although here we do it, of course, a little bit playful way, because we use this AI host in this adventure. So a sign of an educated mind is to exercise counter-argumentation even without totally buying it. Then I want to tell something about the current hypothesis about the chemistry of the battery. So at this point of our investigation, Misgo Electric's LPOF hypothesis, that is lithium polymer oxide with ceramic filler, it looks like a most plausible fit for the accumulated data. So VTT fingerprints, they point consistently toward a polymer composite electrolyte. With the information we have now, of course, the thermal behavior, capacity increasing at higher temperature, the Arrhenius-like DCIR response, and the cell surviving 100 degrees Celsius without thermal runaway. All of this converts to a polymer-based system with ceramic filler providing structural integrity and partial ionic pathways. But there are, of course, some problems with these, as with every assumed chemistry so far. So we will review these ideas more closely later. Our part is just we continue engaging with the Donut Lab marketing game and make the best educated guesses we can with the limited information.
Hi, Thomas here.
Yes, Thomas.
May I comment on a different topics a bit?
Okay, what do you want to bring up?
I'd like to have a bit discussion about the humanoid robotics and these kind of batteries and new kind of energy storage systems are making possible for different kinds of new robotics, upcoming robotics, and that's very interesting to see what kind of solutions these batteries would give to the different robotic in the industry and manufacturing also. And
are there some certain problems in that industry at the moment?
Yes. One is the battery, how the lifetime of the battery, and if the battery takes 4 hours to recharge, that's always a problem. And the problem is also that in industry settings, it's difficult to have automation in multiple spots, in different spots, because of the energy usage. So it would be interesting to see rechargeable spots with faster recharging rates used in industry.
I guess it's also about if they need to be blocked by a cable, or can they recharge only by standing on some stands?
That's right. Yeah.
One thing that comes to my mind is that Tuomo Lehtimäki told in Vegas in January, this January, that they could make these Donut Lab batteries at any shape. So it kind of refers to the production line. They have some technology that they can shape the batteries to any shape, and probably also in the robotic environment it could have some benefits. And as far as we know, they use this nano-paste screen printing technology that makes it possible to print a battery. Maybe, as told in the beginning, I'm not an expert here, but I can only guess that they can print these batteries on any surface. So one thing is of course the cold test, what is probably happening next. And here the things are, of course, are getting very interesting. If the cold test data rolls out as Donut Lab has promised, and if it genuinely shows over 99% capacity retention at minus 30 degrees Celsius, that tightens the plot dramatically, I think. Right now the community is split. A strong cold case result would cause a next shift, perhaps. More people who have been on the fence might start thinking maybe Donut Lab actually knows what they are doing, like Kimi Räikkönen once spoke in Formula 1 race to the radio. So in our episode 4, Panther Chemistry prediction was estimated at 40 to 60% capacity loss at minus 30 degrees, based on the known polymer electrolyte physics. Donut lab is promising 99% capacity. But the model we brought up there as an exercise, it would have this kind of capacity loss. And if the actual result is dramatically better than that, it means the polymer composite hypothesis needs revision. The idea in our case is that hypothesis is falsifiable, so it's not so much that we must definitely be correct in this hypothesis, but it needs to be falsifiable. So the cold test is actually a really good discriminator between competing hypotheses. Miss Go Electric's LPOF model actually survives better in the cold test than our hypothesis. So at the moment, I think that might be a right way to go and tune. But then we also find CT coating AG internal test report from 2021, 5 years ago, that already documented 300 cycles at 3C with zero degradation, and cold test data at minus 20 degrees showing enormous 54 capacity retention. So there are really good signs over there, but then there are big question marks if Donut Lab has managed to get to the promised 99% capacity. Just recently, Didier Rault 124 in YouTube channel mentioned that he had used some AI tool, I think it was Croc, to compose a mix of battery chemistry that could yield all claims of Donut Lab, from non-toxic, cheap, easy production, temporary resistant, energy dense, and enduring fast charged battery. So I'm quite confident that there are some chemistries that can go very near to the promised land, but of course we need to play more with that model and see how the Donut Lab's own battery goes forward. At this point, I think all the speculation about cheap Chinese batteries or faking with lithium batteries does not carry weight anymore. I wonder really this because Reddit community over a month ago had already found CT coating battery tests that were made by German evaluation company SGS in 2024. So it means that the corresponding results that we are now kind of seeing in the VTT test, those results have been verified over 2, even 5 years ago. So I just wonder why there is even all this scam accusation discussion anymore. I think the echo chamber in the internet is dangerous in that sense. When one claim goes to circulate, people think that repeating same thing over and over again, it piles up the evidence. But in reality, only new research, new tests, and genuine analysis can add weight to the evidence, not the amount of repeated speculation, clicks, or views. If you take some time to look at the complete picture in which the Donut Lab business network operates, all the companies that are related, all the persons that are running it are in the background investing, they are already shipping products and so forth. The 2-year-old proto battery, now we know even 5-year-old test results, evaluation results. and that Donut Lab has done extensive preliminary research for 9 months before stepping into the tech. It should be evident that they are seriously trying to get into the business with a quite revolutionary framework, made as much as possible that they were not scammed, because some people are thinking, they have now turned the view that maybe Donut Lab is not scamming us, but they have been scammed. So this perspective shift always happens. But I think they have made background research and make the risk analysis, and they recognize those risks that every business has. So they have taken a risk, try to get this technology out now. In grander picture, Donut Lab is pushing forward an industrial electric vehicle production optimization framework that in total might be revolutionary. It's a combination of everything, not a single metric like battery, OS, or motorbike. Then we are nearing the end. I want to lift up a couple of things about AI-generated content and quality. So I know my previous AI-hosted and generated podcast, those 4 video episodes, can be dismissed as AI slop. And honestly, I get it, because this week alone, a wave of quickly generated surface-level Donut Lab battery videos appeared on YouTube. They seemingly had a low quality, no original research, and they were just clickbait rephrasing content. And that irritates people, and rightfully so. Where is hype? There are usually crypto marketers, so to say. I want to make this distinction that our AI-hosted episodes are not generated from thin air. They are generated from dozens of hours of structured research and thinking. So our research analysis version 2, behind there are 180 pages of cross-referenced material, validated links, or original sources are mentioned, and plenty of tables and charts. So I think that Google Notebook LM platform, it's a perfect for study. That's for sure. But interestingly, the same tool can also be used to deliver a message. So the substance in our case, it's human-guided research, not just AI generation. So I hope that more and more people develop their critical judgment, the ability to look past the surface and assess whether there is originality and genuine effort behind. Actually, in any content, was it created by YouTube influencers or AI? Dunning-Kruger effect lures everywhere. AI will increasingly both clarify and confuse. It will make it harder to distinguish truth from fiction and signal from noise. But those are the conditions we are already living, not in some distant future, but right now. So it's time for closing thoughts. Do you, Matti, want to say something, or Ville?
I just wanted to, perhaps I'm repeating myself. The presence of cell phase was essential for Pollack effect, and lithium polymer batteries, this polymer can be in cell phase. This, I think, is important point. They could make possible this Pollack effect. And then cathode material, one candidate is lithium iron phosphate. And phosphate, it is familiar from DNA, and in DNA if I take seriously teachings by quantum biology, DNA is this kind of exclusion zone, negatively charged. Ions, alkali ions have gone to a field body, magnetic body. So that this would fit with this picture. Lithium is by no means the only possibility. One can consider also other alkali atoms, gallium, natrium. There are several, and even this phosphate, PO4, maybe just this O4 is essential. There was second candidate, was it mangan O4 or something like that. This is second candidate. If this O4 4 O's, if this its ionization is signature or Pollack phase or this exclusion zone. So there are very many possibilities. But what is interesting to me that DNA and RNA, this is something very exciting. In biology, these electrolysis and batteries, cell membrane is battery. These are central notions. So maybe we are coming near to something very simple, resembling biological system. And this quantum coherence, this is of course, this would make possible this tunneling, quantum tunneling, and precise transfer from electrode to electrode, nowhere else. And so here is my
Can I also say something? Yes, I'm thinking as we are presenting the research team and this interesting case study, I would like to open up for challenges. If there is some research challenge that some interested in our work and methods is interested in challenging us with, we would be very interested in looking at scientific challenges also in other areas. Practically any area of science is interesting for us, and we like to work with questions that appear impossible to answer. So you're very welcome to come with challenges. Thank you.
Yes, that was good you brought up this, because so far we've been working with dissident science and outside of mainstream ideas, very esoteric things, I would say. So from that side, sometimes there can be some revolutionary themes coming out, and we are trying to develop our eyes and research methods to find out those interesting and working ideas. And definitely this Donut Labs campaign and everything around it is one good case study to do, and it has a lot of related things to what you said.
Still something, this new effect, they would lead from standard chemistry-based approach to something new, and also in biology, most importantly in biology. Biology would not be mere chemistry, and also this kind of cold fusion, which is now taken seriously. It was discovered in electrolyte systems, and the explanation for it would be based also on Pollack effect. So that maybe this donut has made something very, very interesting, discovered something very, very interesting.
So Donut Lab may have on a way to write history. I think in some they have already written a piece of it. Many can I think agree with that. And I don't wonder if there are some documentaries on a planning board and some books coming around the story. Much more could be, of course, said, but it's time to close up now. And I will be back with some AI-hosted deep dives because honestly, myself, I don't have very much time in a week to do this kind of formats because the research itself takes a lot of my spare time. But I wish good luck for everyone following the plot, and take care and keep your batteries full of green energy. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.